Hi, my name is Marcy. Welcome to my channel, Amnicon Studio. On here I share a little bit about my gardening adventures, homestead endeavors, my animals, which are mostly chickens, and I share a little bit about my crafty endeavors, which include quilting, knitting, cross-stitching, spinning, and I don't know what else. I do a little bit of everything, it feels. Uh, if you are a first time viewer, thank you for choosing to check me out. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. I forgot what I was going to say, so I had to stop the video, and as soon as I remembered, I hit record and just it's gone again. Hold please. It's just like riding a bicycle, right? When it's been a while. Okay, first thing I want to share with you is my knitting. I finished my February lady sweater on, let's see, July 19th. I made this sweater with some yarn that my husband ordered for me off of Temu. Sorry, I forgot to grab this first. I wound up with one skein left. It is, I want to say 95% alpaca. I don't recall for sure what the 5% is. Maybe acrylic, but it's super soft and squishy. And I think when I last showed it, I had part of one sleeve done. I'm trying to remember. And here we are. Here it is. I am not sure what to say about this right now. I chose to go with tortoiseshell style buttons that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and I think they match really well. The sweater, I decided to go with, I'm back, sorry about that. Okay, I just talked about the buttons, and I explained that I decided to go with the full length on the sleeves, and I'm glad I did that. It's very cozy. It's a very hygge feeling type sweater. I just feel really cozy and comfortable when I wear it, which hasn't been much thanks to the heat. We've had a lot of heat and humidity. I don't want to complain too much about the heat, but the humidity stinks. It's not very fun. So that is my knitting FO since I last visited with you guys. And the other two things that I have going on for knitting is socks. Two pairs of socks. Okay. First sock up is monkey socks that I was working on. I have one sock complete. I think I got that. It was the first thing I finished about a week after the last video. I'm trying so hard not to do the uhs. Okay. Pattern is monkey socks from knitty.com. The yarn is Forbidden Fiber Co. The colorway is Tale as Old as Time on the Fortitude base, which now that I think about it, that's something probably significant, but I don't know what the fiber content is on that, and I did not write that down for myself. Knit on US 1 size needles, 2.5 millimeter. I am making these for myself. The first sock I tried on when it was about halfway here, and it feels kind of tight up here, so I'm hoping the they'll loosen out with washing and blocking. And I am ready to start working on the heel on the second one. Yarn is a dream to work with. I have a feeling that maybe I'm pulling the yarn too tight in between the needles, since I like to knit on 2 circs, and at the beginning of each needle, for the most part, it's purls, and I'm kind of pulling real hard to make sure there isn't a huge gap in between. And that could be a big part of why the sock feels too tight. Well, not too tight, but it feels snug. Next up are the Passenger Princess socks that I'm making only when I'm out in the car being driven around. These are taking me a little bit longer than I thought they would. I think the last time I showed, I was probably, yeah, I was about here. This clear stripe. Why? Right there. The yarn is Patton's Croy sock yarn in mid-century stripes. US size 1s, 2.5 millimeters. I'm making them for myself. I'm having a little bit of a hard time with these, and I was a lot further down. I was actually starting to decrease for the toe when I noticed that I had holes up here. So I ripped back and started knitting again, discovered a hole again, and thought, what am I doing? What am I doing to cause these holes? And I think the last time, I can't know for sure for the time before that, I think I accidentally picked up the bar on the stitch in between the needles, and it was going somehow that it just created a hole rather than a stitch. I was hoping to have this one done before I recorded again, but I haven't done much traveling. I was busy the last couple of weekends with home stuff. So just one so far. I was really hoping to have one done for June, one done for July. I hate letting patterns linger too long, but I told myself I was only going to work on these when I was in the car. So these ones could take a little bit longer than I thought, although I'm probably at least 9 months on the monkey socks, just because I sometimes don't have the necessary brain power to keep following the pattern. That is it for my knitting stuff. I'm trying to be good and not cast on anything else before I get the monkey socks done, but I found myself with books from the library, because I kind of have the itch to cast on a sweater or maybe a cowl and sock yarn, as a friend sent me a lot of really lovely sock yarn recently. And I look at it and I think of all the possibilities for it that isn't necessarily socks, but yeah, I'm fighting that urge very much. I want to, but I'm trying to be a good girl. I realized that I forgot to show you the project card that I made for that. And actually, I'm not sure if I showed the project card for the monkey socks. If I didn't, I will insert it here. I just had to run back to the house to grab a couple things that I forgot. And I was a little distressed because I couldn't find one of the things I was looking for. Uh, Next, I want to share my cross stitch with you. I have a fully finished object. Last time I showed my bunny cross stitch to you, I had completed it, I think, but I was looking for a frame. And I ended up finding a frame on Amazon, oh, I think on Prime Day. Even though I keep telling people that I didn't buy anything on Prime Day, I think I bought a few things. A frame and a magnifying thing that I ended up returning because it wasn't the size that I thought it was going to be. But anyways, first thing I want to show you is my bunny cross stitch that I finished into a picture frame. Of course, there's going to be a reflection because I'm right in front of a window. But I'll have a picture of it on my blog. I blog at, I think there we go. I blog at amniconstudio.blogspot.com. I think I forgot to mention that earlier. So my bunny stitch, I think, is actually called The Meadow, and it's from Bothy Threads. And this was a kit that was given to me by a very dear friend. And at some point, I anticipate that this will be hanging up in the nursery of my first grandchild several years from now, because my baby's still a baby. But for now, it'll hang up somewhere in my house. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to hang it up in my craft room or in the hallway, but I definitely want to have it up. So there it is. It was a challenging stitch for me, and it's full of unintentional customizations, but you can't tell to look at it. It looks beautiful. And actually, it wasn't until I started getting close to the end that I even realized there was a little bumblebee there, and I had the hardest time stitching that little bee. I was very glad when it was done. So that is my fully finished object. Yeah, you can see my garage. And, well, let's see. One of the things just popped out. Okay, there's that. I have another finished stitch, but it's not fully finished. This is a freebie. Oops, accidentally just flashed the chart. Love and Prickles. And the only reason I'm covering it is because it's my full name. I don't need that blasted all over the place. But I've had this for at least a year. And I thought it was perfect because we had a porcupine living in our woodpile back in 2020. And he was a little bit of a internet star in one of the Facebook groups. So I finally got the hankering to stitch this one up. And it took me 3 or 4 evenings. And I got it done. The fabric I used, I don't have the, okay, here it is. It was a 28 even weave from Hobby Lobby. And I have a little bit of a tail on this one. I don't even know if it's a tail, but a few years ago, I saw Edna Comes to Brunch on lindystitches.com. And I loved the way it looked. and I decided I wanted one and for it to look exactly like the sample. So I ordered the pattern. I ordered the fabric, which I think was a 32 count Lugana. It was blue with white speckles on it. And then I picked up all the DMC, but not the fancy floss that it called for. I'm sure it called for fancy floss. And I spent over a year, at least a year, working on this stitch. And I did not enjoy stitching it because it was so, the fabric had such tiny little holes, and it wasn't working for me with the readers that I use. Depending on the fabric and the mood I'm in, I have different magnifications. And I tried all sorts of things to make the magnification so that I could see the holes. And I even bought, I don't remember what it's called, but you put it on your head and you can flip out the different magnification lenses on it. That did not work for me. It would have been fine, I think, but it was like a pressure thing on my head and it was giving me a headache, and I said this isn't working out for me. So I struggled with finishing Edna, and I was so glad when I finished her. And I thought to myself, how does anybody do this? This is really hard, and I get no enjoyment from it whatsoever. And I kind of swore off even weave, and definitely linen. I told myself I wasn't going to try doing that stuff again. Well, here this comes along, and I thought to myself, I know I have even weave in my stash because I bought various fabrics from Hobby Lobby before I knew that I didn't like even weave. So I got this fabric, started working on it, and by that time I'd gotten a magnifier, a 10x magnifier. I feel like I'm dragging on this story even though it doesn't need to be that long. Because I'm trying to be concise and it's not working out for me. So I pulled this fabric out of stash, and I thought to myself, well, the fabric doesn't look quite as bad as what I remember it being. I'll give it a try. And this fabric was such a delight to work on that I just couldn't believe it. And then I looked at the chart again, and it said that it calls for 32 count. And I went, oh, that must be it. That must have been the problem, because Edna was on 32 count, 32 Lugana, I believe. So this cute little porcupine that I stitched up is not going to fit on the little trinket box that I picked up at Hobby Lobby for finishing this. But it will, I'm hoping, fit on this box, which is, hold on, gotta grab my glasses. Trinket box number, or wood box number 299743L. And I went up to Hobby Lobby one day and I bought a few different boxes because I wasn't sure really what I was getting and if what I was making was going to fit. And I wanted to have options so I wouldn't have to drive back up there because Hobby Lobby is close to an hour away from me. But I think it will fit on this one. I just need to research and learn how to finish this on a box. I asked for help in a Facebook group. Someone directed me to a YouTube channel. And I might not have been paying that much attention. But I think I have a pretty good idea of how to fully finish that off. And then it's, do I decide to keep it or do I give it as a gift? And I enjoyed this stitch so much that I decided I wanted to make another one, and I wanted to be sure to make it on the proper size. so I could finish it on the little trinket box. And at the time, still, the only 32 count fabric I have is the Lugana that I used for Edna. I still had, I think, half the fabric I purchased. And I have this for a start. And I'm using the called for fabrics, or colors, but I'm not sure how I feel about that color on this color fabric. And I think it's showing the blues might be a little bit lighter than what it is in real life. And since I'm not sure about it, I kind of put it in a timeout. I'm debating on either using an 18 count Aida or changing the colors of the flowers. Because I'm thinking about changing the color of the porcupine as well to something that's more closer to black, but not black. There's a YouTuber, I think her channel is called Mud Puppy Stitchery. I follow her on Instagram. She's from Minnesota, eh? And she made this chart, but she changed the color of the porcupine from the gray to the black and changed the quills to white. And I like that idea, but I didn't want it to be black. And then of course the color that I thought I really liked for making the body of the porcupine would be the color of his little face and his ears. So I'm pondering it a little bit. I've got a DMC flash card, so I just gotta choose a couple colors from there, find them in my collection, and see how I like them. I don't know. I'm still torn on whether to go with the 18 count white Aida or stick with this and save the Lugana for something else. Because thanks to the magnifier that I have now, it is so much easier to see the holes. And now I can see why people like working on 32 count. And also if I'd known just how easy 28 count was to work with, that I'd probably have a lot more of it in my collection. And with that, I'm kind of itching to start a Blackbird design chart that I don't have the fabric for, which maybe I'll pull it down later when I'm done with this other stuff. So that's the next thing. The two main pieces that I've been working on for cross stitch for the last couple of weeks have been my one piece and my crested porcupine. And I have those in my pattern keeper. And I'm looking for the stats on my one piece, which I just realized I'm trying so hard to show my project cards and I keep forgetting them. But the Love and Prickles, I used the call for colors on this one. I plan on using the Hobby Lobby trinket box, 28 count even weave, ivory, Hobby Lobby. Yeah, you can see just how quick of a stitch that is, because I wasn't working on it very consistently. Alright, my one piece. Started March 30th. It's just one color, DMC 310. One Piece is a anime show that my son likes. And it's the main character. On my last video I put on the show notes over on my blog, I found a little tiny image, the only image I've been able to find of what the finished piece is supposed to look like. And I just realized I probably should have pulled this out of the hoop. So I will do that now. The last time I showed it to you, I was working on the hair. Around the face. It won't take me long to put this back in. Okay, here we go. One piece. The guy's name is Luffy. And if I remember, I'll put a picture of what it looked like the last time I shared. I don't know how many stitches I've gotten done since I last showed it to you, but I can tell you that it has 9,029 stitches. I have completed 2,582 stitches, and I am 28.6% done. I think it was last weekend, I thought, I wonder how many stitches I have to do a week in order to get it done before Christmas and then have time to frame it. And I think I gave myself a buffer of maybe 2 weeks. I'm not sure now that I think about it, but 317 stitches a week, and I'll have it done by Christmas. And that seems really attainable. But I think I might have jinxed myself because the last several days I have been working on this part right here, and I have messed up the stitch count so many times, and I've had to rip out that I maybe am 200 stitches for this week. And I thought I'm going to give myself grace, and I'm not going to try to push it because pushing seems to cause problems for me. And I don't want problems on that. I just want to be able to stitch it. I started out so well with it, no problems, and the last week or so it's been frustrating. The other piece that I've been working on has been my crested porcupine, which is a full coverage piece. 64,000 some stitches by Purple Stitching on Etsy. Oh, the one piece stitch that I just showed you, I purchased from an Etsy store. The chart is no longer available. I feel the need to emphasize that because out of all the one piece charts I saw, I liked that one the best. And I felt it was something that can be on display in my, well, wherever my son ends up. And it won't be too kid-ish. It's kind of mature or adult-ish. That might not be the right word. Anyways, I started stitching up here. And I'm like 600 some stitches into it. I am not even 1% done. I thought to myself, how many stitches should I go for a week in order to have this not take forever? And I thought 500 stitches a week, and I'd be able to complete it in under 2 years. No. 2.5 years maybe. I don't know anymore. I decided that one I probably shouldn't try to push myself since I have so many other things I want to do. Then I don't think I would have time to do anything else. But this is what it looks like so far. And then these right here are 2 new needle minders I ordered from Etsy, an Etsy seller. I believe the store name is Sweet Autumn Stitch. I contacted her a few weeks ago asking if she if she'd be able to make a porcupine needle minder for me. And I explained that I was working on this full coverage piece and I would have a few years worth of time on it, and I'd like to have something to match it. The frustrating thing is that anytime you search porcupine for anything, most of the time hedgehogs come up. They don't look anything like each other. I don't even think they're the same animal family. But she was so great and so sweet, and she looked and she sent me images right away. And none were what I was looking for, but they were so cute that I had to get them. And I ended up actually ordering five from her. So there was these two and this one. And I figured I'll swap them out, but I'll keep my eye open for something that looks more porcupine-ish. And I might even try to make something for myself. I'm not sure. I haven't made any needle minders yet. I haven't attempted. But while I was on her site and I was like little over, I didn't need to buy much more in order to get the free shipping. I decided to go for the free shipping and I got this one. It's so pretty. And this one. And I paid extra to get the extra strength magnets. I love her style of needle minders, and whatever subscription service she subscribes to for her clip art. I adore all of it. It's all really cute. So there's that one. And the stats on that one. Looking for the project card. There we go. I hope this is showing because when I hold something up, I can't see what's on the screen. And the fabric is 14 count from my friend at Forbidden Fiber Co., Leanne. Another sweet gal, and if you've never ordered anything from her, you should, because she has some great stuff over there. Okay, so that is my current finished objects, current progress. I'm thinking that I need to pull something out of hibernation and work on it a little bit, and maybe that'll help a little bit with the frustration I seem to be having with the One Piece chart. So I pulled out something that I started last year that's on 18 count, that it is Quilted Christmas. Fabric I dyed myself, 18 count, because again I saw what the sample looked like and I really liked how it looked, and I thought I will try to replicate the color of the fabric. This is as far as I got. There's 2 more charts to go with that. Let's see, Emily Call, I ordered it off Etsy. The fabric is Charles Craft 18 count. I purchased it at Walmart because Walmart is the closest thing I have to my house for some of this stuff. I dyed it. Couldn't tell you what color I used though. And trying to pull up the image so you can see what they look like. Oh, maybe I can't. Well, anyways, they're really cute. I'll try to put something up over there. Uh, I started that back in November. There was a stitch along hosted by Java Girl Stitches and maybe someone else. I can't remember who other than Java Girl Stitches. And I think it was because she had decided to retire from floss tubing, and then she came back like a month or 6 weeks later and said, "Hey, I'm kind of back and I want to do this stitch, and who wants to join me?" At least that's how I remember it in my head. So, so that's what I'd like to do. Acquisitions, I'm not really sure if, well, I belong to the Lindy Stitches Endangered Species Club. We got the most recent chart the in July, end of July. Super cute. I don't know when I'm going to start these. I want to start it right now, but I also want to get that one piece chart done too. God, I love her sense of color and the way she designs. Absolutely love it. And then what's really great about these ones, the chart is from like here to here on it, so it's nice and big. And from what I've heard, that's not always the case with some designers. Usually what I end up doing is making a working copy and blowing it up, but it's only like a part at a time, and then I cross out with highlighter. Oh, I also paid for the fancy floss, and you get a sticker. One of these days I'll know where to put my hand. These are the colors. I don't often work with fancy floss, but there are some things that I decide I just have to have them. And being that she offered it up as part of the package, I just couldn't say no. And I already have the DMC colors. They're stored somewhere around here. I actually bought ahead as soon as the DMC colors were available. That way when the time comes, I can just go in, grab what I need, and start stitching. And then a week or so ago, I've had this on my Amazon wish list for a long time. It's a Gold Cross Dimensions kit. To me, it's kind of pricey. Someone else, it might not be. But I saw it and I fell in love with it and thought it would be really nice to have to stitch up and have hanging on the wall. Although I don't think it's quite a full coverage, but it's got a lot of stitches in it. And I saw Amazon had it for, this sounds terrible, used, but in good shape, something like that. And it said that all that was missing was instructions or something. I don't know. But it was like half price. $16. And I thought, I can order it. If it is missing something or if I don't like how it looks, I can always return it for free. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It wasn't even opened. Unless this is supposed to come in some kind of fancy packaging, there's nothing missing. And I've got, from what I can tell, I got all the colors. I'm kind of wondering about the chart, to be honest. It's like a chart I've never seen before, and it's small. But I'll just make copies and blow it up. But I'm really happy to have that one. Of course, I want to start it right away. I just, if you don't know, I am a hunter. I hunt every year. I bow hunt, and there is just something about this one that I absolutely love. There was one day a long time ago that I went through Amazon and went through all of the gold collection cross stitch kits that they had available, because some of the floss tubers I was watching were just raving about all of these, and I didn't really know anything about them, so I decided to check them out. And then there was a few that I saw, which I just realized my sister-in-law gave me one for my birthday as well. It's still sitting in the house because I want to start that one too. That one is Chickadees and Lilacs, I think it's called, and it's like a 5x7. Yeah, this means something to you, right? But yeah, oh boy. Now I'm getting myself kind of hepped up on all this stuff that I want to start. Okay, so I've shared about my knitting. I shared about the cross stitch. My quilting, I haven't shared about that yet. So I talked a little bit about my sandpiper quilt from Fat Quarter Shop on my last video. I had the top done. I just needed to make the quilt sandwich and quilt it. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I had a little bit of a hard time with my sewing machine when I finally settled on how I wanted to quilt this quilt. Nothing fancy, because I love the colors, and honestly, sometimes I wish you could just like make a quilt, put the binding on, and not have to worry about the quilting, because the colors are so, the colors of the fabric are so pretty to me, and I don't want anything to really interfere with that. And my quilting is amateur. I don't have a lot of experience quilting, although I want to get better and have more experience, but quilting takes time, and I have a lot of hobbies. So I kind of get all hepped up to quilt, and I work on quilting stuff in spurts. So I finished the quilt, and then I haven't touched anything quilting since then. I think the last video I shared that I had a goal of making one whip bag a week for the month of July. Well, of course, since I set a goal, I haven't touched it. I take that back. The fabric is cut, the batting's cut. I just need to quilt it, piece it all together, cut the vinyl for the front of the bags, because I like the bags that have the vinyl in the front. I like those the best. So that will be a goal for this month, I guess, is to make those works in progress bags. But I like quilting at certain times of the day, and that's usually before, like, the hour and a half before bedtime. That just seems like the right time to me. And lately I've been kind of just tired at that time, and with the amount of mistakes that I've been making with some of my other things, I really don't want to have to rip out stitching for quilting. Although, thanks to trying to figure out I'm drawing a blank on getting the settings just right for my sewing machine, and ripping out stitches for that. I've figured out a way to more easily rip long lines of stitching out, so I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world anymore. But let's see, I'm not sure how well this is going to show, but this is my finished quilt. there's those two colors. And I guess those colors. I'll put a picture up on the blog. Well, anyways, I decided to go with just long stitches, long rows of stitching. And I'm quite happy with how that turned out. I'm glad I went with that. And I've already snuggled up under it a few times because the air conditioning, I can handle the heat better, but the cold is cold to me. And I'm walking around the house in sweaters sometimes. And I've bundled up under this a few times while watching TV. So that is, I think, all my crafty endeavors. Let's see, I have been puttering in the garden, tending to the chickens, just not a lot going on. I feel like a broken record with that one, but not a lot going on. And the little that is going on, I've been blogging about that, but I mean, if you want to hear about us cleaning out and organizing our garage, I can talk about that, but I did write about that on my blog already. The garden, now that it's finally getting hot out, it's finally starting to really grow, and my tomatoes are taking off. The cucumbers, I've got little baby cucumbers, I've got some zucchinis. One of the cherry trees started ripening. I've got young peaches, young pears. I don't know what we're going to do with those yet. Mostly I'm just trying to survive in the humidity because we've had so much humidity and it's not normal for this area. So I just kind of start moving in slow motion when I'm outside, and I try to make sure that the house is as cool as possible for when my husband gets home from work, because he works in this all day, and I figure that's the very least I can do, along with keeping cold sodas in the fridge. I've been watching FlossTube lately and some knitting videos. I've been watching I think her living traditions or knitting traditions. Living traditions is something else. And then I wrote down a few so I wouldn't forget them. Lindy Stitches, she's been doing a little series showing all the new charts that are coming out for some kind of needlework market that's happening in August. I don't know what it's called because some of this stuff is pretty new to me, but she's been gushing over some of the new charts, and I have to admit there are a few that I've been really tempted by. This one trio, I think it was like a fox and a rabbit, and I don't remember what the third one, by a designer called Putini. A lady that just put out her first floss tube, and I didn't write down her first name, which I'm sorry for, but her name is Professor Stitch. She's from Texas, and I like her video. It was her first one, and I think she did really great with it. She has a lot of enthusiasm for sharing what she's working on. She looks like she does a lot of charts, and there's a lot of history behind them. If I remember right, she said she's a history professor, so that kind of stuff is like right up her alley. Another one who is actually a knitter from Michigan who came across my recommendations is Coffee Knits with Sarah. She's a young mom and she likes coffee and knitting. That's about all I know so far because I haven't gone back to watch the first one. Log Cabin Stitcher put out a new video. I really like her because she has a style of, she, okay, I like to watch videos of people who are into styles of crafts that I'm not necessarily interested in making, but I appreciate how they look. And she's very into primitive, I think it's called, quilts and cross stitch, and she does a lot of um, things like that. She, boy, I sound like something. She she does a lot of like fabric dyeing, and she knows how to like stain like the little trinket boxes from Hobby Lobby. She goes in there and gets dirty and has knows all these different ways to make them look aged. And she's a wonderful person, you know, and it comes through on the camera. I wish she recorded a little more frequently, but I think she's still settling in from a big move, which I can understand. I caught a video from Crafty Cat Stitcher. I actually think she's in one of my cross stitching groups, and that's how I originally came across. She has a lot of enthusiasm too. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but you know, sometimes people put videos and you can tell that they're nervous about making the videos, like me. I'm starting to relax a little bit now because I'm probably doing this way longer than I wanted to. I mean, the video is going to be longer than I wanted it to be, but that's okay because it's been a while. But she has a lot of ease at being in front of the camera, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then she's been stitching for a long time too, and she likes to share some of the stuff that she stitched way back when. And this most recent video, she shared some of the stuff that she just kitted up, unless I'm mixing her up with somebody else. But she is so excited, and I just love the enthusiasm with her wanting to share what she's starting up. High Fiber Diet. She is a gal who does knitting and cross stitch, or not cross stitch, crochet. And that's how I found her way back when. She started out as an audio podcast, and I'm not sure when she switched over to doing videos. And I actually like that she does videos now versus the audio, because I listened to her for so long before seeing her. I don't know how else to put it, but it was just like, oh, it's so nice to see you. Actually, I came across her audio, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. She's very open about the fact that how would you put it? I'm not sure, but she would consider it health issues or getting better, but I mean, she's had some stuff that she had to do. Boy, I almost feel like I'm digging myself a hole, but I mean, when I used to weigh a lot more than what I do now. And I started a program called Real Peel, and I don't think it's called that anymore. And anytime anybody's talking about struggles with their weight, I guess is probably the way I should have put it, I highly recommend the Real Peel program. Like I said, I don't know what it's called now, but when I did it and went through the program, that's what it was called. And it's about learning to make changes like a little bit at a time. Don't beat yourself up if you can't do all the things all at once. It's making lifestyle changes, changing habits, learning how to incorporate exercise and other things into your life. And I found Kagi at a time where I needed, kind of like I needed a little bit of a cheerleader maybe. I mean, she was sharing what she was going through, and I was like, yes, I can identify with that. I get it, and I appreciate it. And I probably never, like, left a comment or sent her a message saying that, but it's like when I was really struggling with some stuff, and like then she'd put out a video talking about her knitting and her crochet, and then she'd post a health update. It was like exactly what I needed at the time, that like, yes, you can do this. It is attainable, and it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. And it's not the end of the world. So if I never said it, and if she ever watches this video, thank you, Kagi, because you did a lot for me when I needed it, and I should have told you sooner. So, and then there's another gal from over in England called, her channel's called In Stitches with Ebony, and she does a lot of full coverage pieces, and they are beautiful. She has pieces that have a lot of colors, vibrant colors in them. And the last video I watched, she had, it wasn't a fancy lady, but it might have been a mermaid. And the fabric that she was stitching it on was gorgeous. And she recently finished this lion full coverage piece. I think she said it was for her sister, and I'm cat person, so I was like all about that. And she's quick too. She's quick with all of that, because I think she was maybe halfway through when I first started watching her with that piece, and she's got a lot of full coverage pieces. And I admire that, because one full coverage piece for me is all I can handle right now. I decided in the last week or so that I needed to start getting my reading game on again. Well, actually a couple weeks ago, when I checked out from the library A Funny Story. That's what it's called, A Funny Story. I don't have the author's name written down. That book was a recommendation from Kate at the Novel Stitcher channel. And then I started listening yesterday to an audiobook called The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. I remember her name because I've listened to previous audiobooks of hers before. A Funny Story is a love story. Two people end up having to live together because the people that they were engaged to got together. I've had some laugh out loud parts already to it. I mean, it's light reading, light fluffy reading, potato chip reading. And then the Coldest Girl in Cold Town is a vampire story, which I haven't read anything or heard anything like that in a while. And I'm still trying to get the feel for that one, because it is described as a love story, a revenge story. Reading some comments about the book over on Reddit, and some people say that it is one of the best vampire stories in a really long time. Like, maybe a whole new set of lore, vampire lore, while staying true or paying homage to all the vampire folklore that we know of right now. I'm not even 4 hours into it, and it's a 11-hour audiobook, but I'm enjoying that so far. So that is it for now. Uh, I would like to try to record again in a couple more weeks. We'll see if that happens, because hopefully by then the garden will really start kicking out produce, and I'll be busy canning and preserving and dehydrating. And I hope you enjoyed this time with me right now and visiting with me. And I hear this at the end of a lot of the videos. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Share the video. I feel kind of awkward saying that, so maybe I'll just create an outro that says it. Show notes will be on my blog, amnaconstudio.blogspot.com. I may load this video up before I finish the show notes, but I'll have a link in the description leading directly to the show notes. So until next time, bye.